There is a Latin saying, "Finis coronat opus." It means the end crowns the work. Everything that has a beginning must eventually come to an end. And while it seems that starting is the most crucial part of anything, it is true that ending it may be the most important. In more competitive events, the end may even be more important than the beginning. Often, it is true that many people are unable to finish with the same enthusiasm as they started. In fact, some are unable to finish at all. Somewhere in the middle, or even close to the end, they begin to lose energy, zest, enthusiasm, and the willpower to go on. Some easily and readily give up the moment difficulties and opposition begin to surface. With the help of God, which is always present for and given to those who recognize their need of it, you must begin and end when it is right and when it is actually finished. The duration does not really matter, and certainly not what other people think. Jesus began his ministry at the age of 30, and only a few years afterwards he said, while hanging on the cross, "It is finished." On his way to the cross, he encountered many difficulties. Opposition rose against him. People reviled him and actually assaulted him. He fell several times, but he never gave up. His eyes were intently fixed on the cross. That is where it had to end. That is where the finishing line was. And that is where victory could be gained. It doesn't really matter if many or even all of the people you started with are far ahead of you. They may have finished their course long ago. All you need to do and all that is required of you is to finish your own race. Your race is designed for you alone, and only you are responsible for determining when it actually comes to an end. The story is told of a young athlete who, in the course of a marathon, sustained an injury, which should stop any athlete from running any further. To everyone's amazement, this young man rose up and with only one able leg kept hopping till he got to the finishing line. By the time he got to the finishing line, all the other runners had finished hours ago and left the stadium together with almost all the spectators. Later in an interview, when he was asked why he did not stop running after his injury, he said, "My country did not send me all the way here to come and start, but to finish my race." Tell yourself that starting and not finishing is not an option for you. Tell yourself that you are not a quitter, because quitters do not end, because quitters do not achieve, because quitters do not win. In many cases, starting something is relatively easier. It doesn't really take much time to begin a journey, a business venture, schooling, or a career. Anyone can start some type of career, but it takes goodwill, it takes courage, it takes determination, perseverance, and character to keep at it and to see it through. Your adversaries are not bothered when you begin something. The enemy doesn't stop anyone from starting. Every day he sees countless number of people start. They start beautifully and yet he is not even worried. He stands by and looks on unconcerned. The end crowns the work. Indeed, it is the end that crowns the work. It is the end that makes sense of the beginning. No one has ever received any prize or an award for starting something unless the thing succeeds. No one receives a medal for starting a race that he doesn't finish. You may begin a piece of work with much enthusiasm, but after a while, all the enthusiasm starts to wane. Your interest dissipates and you become physically and mentally exhausted. This is the time you need the grace to finish. This is the time you need to remind yourself that the end crowns the work. This is the time you need to tell yourself that you have got to finish this. This is the time you have to motivate yourself that it is not an option to begin something and not finish it. You need to dig deep and access the supernatural gift of God to enable you accomplish the task. You have to know something. The moment you begin breaking new grounds, the moment you begin making impact and touching lives, the moment you begin acquiring new, wealthy and influential clients, the moment you begin making a name for yourself and getting one step closer to that target, the moment you start getting better, the moment you get closer to that finish line, that's when you get your opponent's attention. Your enemies will not waste their time on you if they believe that you are a lost cause. It is when they see you making progress and getting closer to the finishing line that they begin to work overtime, throwing all kinds of troubles at you just so that you would give up and never finish the good thing you started. Life is a journey. Life is a race. But it is not a sprint. It is a marathon. If you are in it, you must be in it for the long run. You must be in it all the way to the end. The strength to endure difficult moments, the grace to finish with honor has been given to you. All you need to do is tap into it and utilize it. Let your opponents and critics realize that you are not going anywhere. You are prepared to withstand even the 3rd to the 10th upset and misfortune. You are not ready to give up. You are simply unstoppable. Know this. You confuse your enemies and even irritate them when you press forward in the face of misfortunes. By so doing, you transfer all your frustration back onto them. They become perplexed, confused, and frustrated. They suddenly awake to the reality that you have risen above nature and you have become so much stronger and better. Your enemies think that you will give up when you have your first downfall. But you must understand that the downfall of a man is not the end of his life. And so get up and press forward. They think that you will give up when you have your first miscarriage. But you must understand that God's time is the best. And so you must trust in the Lord. They think that you will give up and take to drinking when your marriage or your business collapses. But you must believe that when one door closes, another door opens. They think that you will give up when you fail your exam the first time. But you must understand that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And so you must study harder and prepare for the following year. The end crowns the work. The end crowns the work. Everything you worked for, everything you have been through, everything you have begun will become a total waste if you fail to bring it to a successful end. It's easy to give up when things don't proceed as planned. When things get tough and life becomes unbearable, the enemy will whisper lies in your ears. He will tell you it won't work. It's never going to work. It's only going to get worse. Just quit and settle. You just have a bad luck. You are cursed. You just don't have what it takes. Your family is the cause of everything. Take it from me. When you are tempted to get discouraged and settle, it's because you are close to your breakthrough. When you have setbacks, disappointments, people coming against you, negative medical report, marriage problems, and financial problems, don't get discouraged. It is a sign that you are getting closer to the finish line. In these moments, you must take a stand and talk to your innermost being. Tell yourself, no weapon fashioned against me shall prosper. Keep reminding yourself that God is the author and finisher of your faith. That he who began a good work in you will surely bring it to an end. And instead of talking about how big your problems are, talk about how bigger your God is.